Hey guys, YouTube world, YouTube guitarist, hope you guys are having an awesome week, as I say every week, and it's a Sunday, and that means it's another guitar lesson with me, Rex Pearson from rexpearson.com. If you're a subscriber, you probably realise I'm not playing my usual guitar, and that's because this is a new guitar that I got recently. JS1000, I'll be doing a review of it in a couple of weeks, once I've got my head around the kind of functionality of it and what this little thing does and things like that. But for now, for those of you who are probably watching this, you're wanting to find out how to play this particular song by Taylor Swift, I Knew You Would Trouble. Now this tune, I split into three little sections. Now I'm going to be teaching it, not using open position chords, but if you want to just play strumming along to this, accompanying yourself if you're a singer or something, the guitar chords are in the description below, and that will help you to learn the song if you know your open position chords and a couple of the more advanced bar chords. If you're struggling with this, don't forget there's a beginner guitar course available on my website, completely free. We're going to start off with the first part, which is going to only involve 2 strings at a time, so it's a nice, easy sort of way into this. And remember that I'm going to be teaching this not using the easiest way of playing it, the open position chords. I'm going to be teaching you it as it's played on the track, so that you can actually play it along to the track. So here we go. Let's start with the first verse. Okay, now the best way to get it is to work on the right hand first, believe it or not actually working on the left hand fretting positions. Let's just get you lined up first, and then we're going to work on the right hand technique. Now the first finger goes on the 5th fret on the high E string, and the second finger is going to rest on the 6th fret on the B string. Those 2 notes. Now it's really important that you get consistent downstrokes with this. Now there is an accented pattern you'll hear when it's played in the track. There's some where you're just going to be hitting the bottom note, and then some where you're going to be actually strumming. But if you can get a solid downstroke pattern on the right hand, then you're half of the way there. Then it's a case of accenting. Now the accents are going to sound like this. You're going to have the first one accented, now that is the pattern of the right hand. Always accent those ones, and if you can get the right hand down first before attempting the chord shapes, then it's going to be a lot easier. So I would just say work on that little first position here, the 5th and 6th fret, working on the right hand, that rhythm. If you can play along to how I just played it at that sort of speed, then you are ready for the next part, which is to actually learn the position shapes. Now you've already learned one. You do that once, then you're going to move it down. Now the first finger goes to the 3rd fret, the 3rd finger is going to take over on the 5th fret on the B string. So then you're going to have, then it's going to move down 2 frets, both strings, so you can just slide it down. If you've got this one, it should be a fairly easy reach. You can use the 4th finger if the 3rd finger is you know, getting in the way and not quite big enough to get there. You can use the 4th finger as well. So then we slide down. Then you're going to introduce, if you're using the 3rd finger, using the 2nd, or if you're using the 4th finger, using the 3rd finger, on the same fret but on a string above. And it's the same pattern with the right hand. They are the main 4 positions, and they are basically highlighting the chords. You've got an F major chord, you've got a C major, a D minor, and then a B flat major. If you wanted to strum along, you could strum just those open position chords and that B flat, and you'll get the same sort of sound. But if you're playing it like the track, you want to highlight these notes and do the rhythm that I've explained at the beginning to get it just sounding like the track. Now I should say you repeat each one of these patterns twice before moving on. So the first one, that's 1, this is 2. Now on that B flat, I tend to accent the lyrics and how they're actually being spoken. So the rhythm on the right hand changes slightly. On the second time, you're just going to do a full strum followed by just the bass, and a full strum followed by just the bass. Anything that you find difficult on guitar or any instrument, it's well worth practicing it in isolation. As soon as you've identified that it's a problem, just work on that section. Don't try and do the whole thing all at once, because it can be too much. So if you're struggling, make sure you just do little small sections at a time. It will take a bit of time for the fingers to get used to where they're going to go. And that, guys, is what's played over the entire verse. Now we're going to move on to what I would probably call the pre-chorus section. Okay, the first chord is a D minor, going down to the B flat major, C major, and then it repeats that twice, and that's basically the sort of pre-chorus. You could play it as open positions. The B flat you can't, and then C major. It's got a slightly different sound than that type of C major. So it's up to you which sort of chord shapes you want to use, but if you know that it's a D minor, B flat, C major, then you're pretty much there. Then there's a little turnaround, which is the most difficult part of this section. It goes up to an F, using the A shape here, and then it goes to a C major, but what we call in first inversion, which basically means that a bass note other than C is being used as a bass. So if you imagine your C major chord played in the E shape here, we're taking the second note and then playing the rest of the chord. And the change is quite quick. And that bass line is quite important, because it goes to the D minor afterwards. If you can get that bass line, it's a much more advanced way of playing it. Sounds a bit cooler as well. That part there is going to be quite difficult, particularly this shape, because it's not a very common shape, the first inversion C major chord here. You could, of course, do F, do all open position shapes, F to C. You don't quite get that bass line going in there. So you can learn a song different ways depending on where your ability lies. And like I say, if you're struggling with that, give it the open sort of bar chord here a go. F to C and then back to D minor. That's basically the chords throughout the entire track. So when you're doing the verses, you've got to get that right hand technique first, then learn your four shapes, piece it together. When you're on to the pre-chorus section, single strums through the chords, make sure that each string is ringing out, and you'll be fine with that. And you've got this turnaround here, which is quite a difficult part. When it goes to the kind of what I would call the dubstep sort of section of the song, I would boost your volume all the way to the top if you're playing an electric guitar. If you're playing an acoustic guitar, just play a little bit louder, and it's a slightly different strumming pattern. It's bass, 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 strum. Bass, bass, bass. And you move through the exact same chords as before. And then the turnaround thing at the end is the same. And if you can get, one thing I noticed when I was playing this, if you can get a lot of slides down before you're playing the next chord, it gives it a bit more sort of punch in your playing. So you're sliding down the fretboards, gives it a bit more kind of punch to it, and it sounds a little bit more like the bass line of the track. And will make you sound much more aggressive on that part of the song, which is pretty useful because it's the main part of the song. Okay guys, the bridge is the final section. Once you've got those main three pieces together, this will be quite easy for you, but if you're struggling with bar chords, then there's no way out of it, because one of them is a bar chord. It's the B flat major chord. All of these are single strums on the bridge section. You've got that chord, B flat major, followed by a D minor. It goes back to B flat, and then finishes on a C, and you stay on that C, and it finishes off with a chorus at the end, which you already know the chords for. So next Sunday I will be on as usual, choosing a new modern song, or perhaps a new technique, or something that will keep you inspired, and pick up this guitar. I know I'll be picking up this because it's brand new today. So I'll be playing with this and doing a review in a few weeks' time once I've got an idea of how it sounds. Catch you guys next Sunday, and thanks for watching.